For Cybercrime Magazine, I'm Steve Morgan with special coverage of the RSA Conference 2023, sponsored by SecurityScorecard, the global leader in cybersecurity ratings. Learn more at SecurityScorecard.com. Our Chief Security Officer, Scott Schober, joins us. Scott, welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, great to be here with you, Steve.
So Scott, you were at the RSA Conference in San Francisco last week. A lot of buzz there. During the 2 days you were there, CISOs and security leaders were coming by the SecurityScorecard booth, which is where you were located. They also enjoyed talking to us about their favorite hacker movies. So let's hear what some of them had to say.
What is your favorite hacker movie?
So I think I'll go old school for that one. That will be The Italian Job with Michael Caine.
Well, I have to go with Swordfish.
I would say Matrix.
Probably the original Matrix.
Matrix.
I love the Matrix. The whole scene with a red pill versus blue pill and how we live in a Matrix, that was amazing.
It's actually a Die Hard movie, Live Free and Die Hard, one where the hacker helped Bruce Willis.
Yeah, I watch a lot of hacker movies, and I like Black Hat.
Catch Me If You Can. Catch Me If You Can.
I like Catch Me If You Can because I think typically when people think about hacking, they think about technology. And it's really not about technology, it's about the motivation behind it. And I think that Catch Me If You Can is a phenomenal film about social engineering.
One of the gentlemen who stopped by, Bobby Ford, Senior Vice President and Global Chief Security Officer at HPE. I know you asked him about his favorite movie, but he also talked about the labor crunch we're in now. What did he have to say? What are your thoughts?
It was interesting because he actually presented on it there at RSA, and he talked about filling the cyber talent gap, and he kind of quantified it a little bit differently. He said it's more of the experience gap that's part of the problem that needs to be filled. So a lot of things that people need to do is really to gain knowledge, and how important that is to educate yourself, because you're going to start out, you may not have that experience per se, but by gaining knowledge, reading books, going to events, doing research and reading reports, that's what's really essential for people to gain that experience much quicker and build on that.
So we talked about filling the talent gap and how we don't really see it as a talent gap, but more an experience gap. So it's a phenomenal conversation and a discussion that a lot of organizations are having right now.
So you asked Alex Yampolsky, the CEO and co-founder of SecurityScorecard, about ChatGPT and what they're doing. What did he have to say?
They've added AI into cybersecurity and truly doing it. And what they're doing is integrating GPT layer on top of SecurityScorecard's platform. And I think that's really fundamentally important.
We integrated a GPT layer on top of SecurityScorecard platform. So now you're able to ask a question in human language. Security teams are drowning in too much data, and they don't know what's in the data. They're looking for a needle in a haystack. And now, using a copilot technology via GPT, it can actually guide the CISOs about how to make safer, smarter decisions faster. It's really cutting edge. We're the only company in the security ratings who pioneered it at the RSA, and we think it's going to deliver so much value to our customers and make a job of defenders easier.
So Scott, we had a special guest on with us last week during RSA Conference, Steve Wozniak, co-founder of Apple. He also wrote the foreword to the Hackers Movie Guide book that you were giving away and interviewing people about. I want you to take a listen to what Woz had to say about the RSA Conference, and then we'll get your thoughts.
Groups sharing the ideas and talking about them is where so many ideas come by that say the future could be very inspirational. We can do a lot of good things. A lot of different people. It's not just my thinking, it's brainstorming. That's what goes on there. And people would talk about the techniques of cybersecurity. What are some holes and how were they exploited and how did they work and how can we close them up? Well, it's a lot better when you have a lot of people talking and sharing their ideas, and individuals in different teams even working on understanding it and understanding where the weaknesses and holes are and how to get them fixed.
Wozniak hit the nail on the head, especially coming out of pandemic. We've been a couple years where companies are somewhat isolated or silos. Now, if we think about it, what's important when we go to industry events such as RSA, we're talking amongst one another. In fact, the theme of RSA was stronger together. And it's true, when you bring like-minded professionals together and discuss different breaches, discuss different vulnerabilities, and how we could better use technology to fight this, it's really about us as a team, the good guys working together to fight off the cyber criminals. And certainly this year showed that the importance of that, bringing everybody together and being stronger together.
We're delighted to lead the world in terms of like face-to-face interactions again post-COVID. So this is a really big, important show for us. We had about 27,000 attendees last year, which was great, and we're around 10,000 more than that this year. So the funnel of ideas, innovative thoughts, incredible speakers is really what we're all about. But then there's also just the community. We've been really pushing this year that we're stronger together, as you've seen from all our taglines. But one of the reasons I joined the company just 6 months ago and joined the industry is because we've got a shared mission of solving big problems, and that's fun.
Scott, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll be doing this for sure again next year.
Thanks for having me, Steve.
For Cybercrime Magazine, I'm Steve Morgan. Our special coverage of the RSA Conference 2023 is sponsored by SecurityScorecard, the global leader in cybersecurity ratings. Learn more at SecurityScorecard.com. You can keep up with all of our media at cybercrimemagazine.com.